Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Elliot. This is Everything Elliot, and this is the old war horse behind me here. This thing has been the subject of a couple previous videos, and we're going to start with this today, but we got a couple other things we're going to get to. We're going to service this thing. We're going to go check out some hydroseeding that I did about a week ago, and then we got a small job. The first job I'll be doing with this thing since I dumped all of my savings into it. Like I said, we're going to service it, so we got $421 worth of filters right here, all from Conequip parts. More about them later, but first things first, let's jump right into the belly of the beast. There's not a battle going on in my shop. It's just my son.
Can thing, right?
At least somebody's getting enjoyment out of the packing materials. All right. Oh, not as big of a mess as I thought. That's good. Perfect. Didn't slop any of it.
Where you going?
All right, folks, we're just gonna let that drain for a little bit. Make sure all of it's out of there. This is kind of comfortable. There's a good view of my double chin there. Let it drain. Make sure all of it's out of it. Then we'll grab the oil filter, which I think is right next to it. Let's have a little look-see, though. Yeah, I think that right there is the oil filter. Pretty sure of that. So we're about done dripping there. So let's get the plug put back in. All right. Race tight. And then, like I said earlier, I've got the oil filter right up here somewhere. Pretty sure that's the oil filter right there. So we're gonna see if we can get that spun off. And we'll just leave the pan down here because I'm sure this will make a mess too. Right about there maybe. I don't know. It kind of looks like it's gonna work. Oof. That is screaming tight. Cool, O-ring came off with it, so we'll let that drain for a minute. And then we're gonna go get the new one. All right, so let's get over to the box of filters I got here. I've got 2 hydraulic filters, oil filter, I think this is a fuel filter, and then those are both fuel filters, air filter, and all this came from Conequip. So this is probably the perfect time for me to tell you about Conequip Parts, the sponsor of today's video. So Conequip Parts has service items for thousands of pieces of equipment, including this ASV and pretty much all of my other equipment because I've gotten a lot of parts from them before. They actually hooked me up with the tracks here. They didn't hook, I paid for them. They gave me a little bit of a discount to give them a shout out, but I paid for the tracks, but I got them from them. Yeah, I also got all that from them too. So Conequip Parts has literally thousands and thousands and thousands of items for all different equipment. And they actually have a nice online store so you can actually shop online, which is nice. However, if they don't have the part that you're looking for, just give them a call because they probably have it and it's just not in the store yet because they're in the middle of building this thing. On top of that, they also have a YouTube channel and a podcast. I'll let Luke tell you more about that.
Thanks, Elliot. And that's right, Conequip Parts does sell heavy equipment parts, but we're also here to entertain you. And for some reason, they tasked me with starting a podcast titled Downtime. That's right, Downtime presented by Conequip Parts. Pretty sweet logo, huh? This is a podcast all about construction. Well, kind of about construction, because let's be real, me and my co-host Andrew couldn't be here today because I put him in timeout. We're part of the marketing team, so we don't know a ton, very limited experience in the blue-collar industry. But what we can do is take construction topics and then go on tangents that probably have nothing to do with construction. So I just want you guys to know, if you tune into this podcast, you're probably not going to learn anything, but maybe you'll share some laughs with us. We like to have a good time. So tune into Downtime. You can find us on the Conequip Parts YouTube channel or on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where you can enjoy your downtime with Downtime. Anyways, back to Elliot's handsome face.
So thanks to Conequip for sponsoring this video. If you have any service items or just parts in general that you need to get for some heavy equipment, make sure you check them out. The link is down below. Oh man, does that look good? Nice and shiny and clean. Make sure she's nice and tight. Hand tight, that is, because when you do oil filters, you only make them hand tight. Quarter past tight, we're good to go. All right, oil plugs in. There were some bolts down here I wanted to check. It looks like it's leaking oil. See that bolt? Those two right there, those go into the crankcase. And it's a poor design. It really is. It's a poor design. But I think they're leaking ever so slightly. So we're going to try to get a socket on those and get them tightened up. But before we go any further and before I forget, let's get some oil in this thing, because that would be catastrophic. 8.5 quarts, 1030. I'm putting 540 in it. That'll be fine. Because 540 is what I run in everything else, so I just buy 5-gallon jugs. So the motor oil's done. That's a big step. Let's get this back on there. Almost need a step stool to work in this thing. There's a filter here, right there. There's a filter right there. Fuel filter, fuel filter. Am I a filter short? Isn't there a filter underneath too? Yeah, there's a filter. Okay, yeah, that's the small one. That'll be easy to get. So let's do that one next. All right, so this should be the hydraulic return filter. Should be. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I hope this thing doesn't make a super huge mess and I lose all my hydraulic fluid. I should probably get my filter ready just in case, so it's not leaking back from the tank. So we call a hot swap right there. Hot swap. Where's my wrench? Again, this is supposed to be hand tight, but since it's covered in oil, oh, that's the wrong way. Nothing better than hot swapping filters there. All right, let's get out from under the machine. All right, so the next two filters I'm gonna do are going to be the hydraulic filters. You can see the orange one there, and then there's that. Can you see the bottom of it? There it is. So I'm going to do those two. I don't know how I'm going to do them. I'm not going to film these two. I'll probably just struggle with them for about 45 minutes. And then when I'm back, I'll let you know how it went. So I wanted to show you guys my setup before I get started doing these hydraulic filters. Since these ones are so much more difficult to get to, I don't want to hot swap them because it's going to take me a really long time to get the filter in there. So I got the shop vac set up. I'm going to take the line and I'm going to put it on the hydraulic fill right there, wherever that is, right there, yep. And I'll just let the vacuum run. It'll pull a vacuum on the hydraulic fluid, not enough to suck it into the shop vac, but it'll pull a vacuum, and then it'll essentially suck air through the system where the filter is, and you'll hear it bubbling, and it won't leak hydraulic fluid. That's how I do it on my tractor. I assume it's going to work the same way here, but I guess we'll find out together. No, we won't, because I'm not going to film it because it's going to take me so long to do these, but that's the setup. All right, folks, they're in. It really wasn't that bad. Not as bad as I let it on to believe. I did have to use the bar on the wrench for this one that's right here. That one that's right there was pretty loose, so it really wasn't bad. But they are both done, as you can see. This one was really, really tight. I put the wrench on there, and then from right here, put the bar on the wrench and just kind of went like that, and it popped it loose. But they're both done. Now let's do an easy win. Let's get the air filter done. That's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Pull the old one out, put the new one in. Woo. September 22nd, 2020. 5 years ago. At 26, 29 hours, which I think this machine had, that's about 1,000 hours. So it's a good thing we're replacing this. I didn't even honestly look at this when I bought the machine. Right where it belongs. Because the new one, that's what it's supposed to look like right there. Nice and white. This machine's gonna be happy. Super happy. So honestly, we only have 2 filters left. We have this one, which this should be a spin-off. That's a fuel filter. And then we have the water fuel separator right there, which that is, I can feel a nut under there. So we might as well just do the spin-off first, right? That'd be the most simple. All right, we got the new filter filled up with diesel and ready to install. All right, hand tight. Well, you've seen me replace every filter except this one right here. And I'm just gonna do that quick, because again, there's nowhere for me to put the camera. So I'm just gonna do it. It just unbolts at the bottom, the whole thing comes down, you slap the new filter in there, put the bolt back up. Simple as that. All right, so we got everything done. That is now installed. And I think we're just gonna let it rip. We're gonna fire it up. I need to check the oil, but it's got to run for a little while, so we'll start it up and see if it'll run and see if we have to prime it somehow. I don't know if this has an old priming bulb on it or something. I'm not too sure. Figured that was going to happen, so let's see if we can fire it back up. Alright, so it looks like this thing's self-primed, which is great. You know, I put the battery charger on there just so I wasn't killing the battery, just in the jump mode, not in like the charge mode, just so I got some extra amperage out of that battery to get its spinning speed. I'm going to leave it run like this for a couple minutes. I'm going to check for leaks, because once you put the belly pans on underneath, you're not going to be able to see any of those leaks, and we did. I mean, all the filters, you'd see them leak down there, so I don't see anything egregious right now. You know, I mean, obviously I made a mess down there, but there's nothing actively like pouring out of it, which is good. This machine is probably super happy, so we'll let it run. I'm gonna check for leaks, and then we'll put the belly pans in. That's it for the service. I mean, I'm just gonna do all that. Nothing really to film on putting belly pans in. So probably the next thing you're gonna see is loading this thing up to go to the job tomorrow. All right, folks, here's the deal. We got a pile of dirt here, we got a pile of dirt there, we got to spread that dirt. We're taking some in the pasture down there to level out like a low spot. We're gonna lose some over here, and then we got to lose some behind the house. But it really shouldn't be that bad of a job. Hopefully I'm not here long. I don't think it'll take that long, but you know how these things go. You'll spend all day here sometimes. But that's all right. We're gonna get a job. This is a return customer. If you guys look closely, that area over there, I leveled that last time I was at this property. It's looking good, but we're just gonna touch these things up. We got a lot of sod here, which isn't ideal for leveling, so I told her that. I said, hey, this isn't the perfect stuff for leveling and grading, but it was free, so she really can't complain. We're gonna set up the cameras, and we're gonna get after it. So hopefully you can kind of see the low area there. That's priority number one, so that's where we're gonna start. All right, folks, that's about gonna button this part of the project up. We got this nice and smoothed out. Like I said, we got these root mats in here. This is free material, so I told her, I said, you know, this isn't gonna grade out super well because all this root mat, but it turned out decent. I'm happy with it. Left her a half a bucket over there, and then I told her up by the fence we're gonna have to just feather it in over here. I don't know what she wants to do. Let's get rid of this piece of concrete. What? Brush hog will find that later. She said she has a York rake for her tractor that she plans on hitting us with. So let's move on to the next part of the job. There's a stump that she needs put in the woods way on the other side of the pasture, and then a rock in the pasture that she wants saved. So we're gonna go get those, get rid of those. And then I don't know, there's a low spot over by that cottonwood she wants filled. Project number 2, where that machine is down there, is a low spot. There's like an arc of a low spot. So we're just gonna take probably the rest of that pile over there, spread it down there, see how that goes. All right, folks, there's part 2 of the project done. Come out good. Again, we're fighting sod here, so if this was topsoil, we'd be in a lot better shape. I could address this real quick now that I'm out of the machine and see it. That looks pretty bad, so we're gonna fix that. But I'm gonna go talk to the customer real quick. She wanted some dirt out behind the house, and she wanted to address this over here. So I need to go talk to her. What is more important? Is behind the house more important, or is this hill more important over here? I'm gonna go do that, and then we'll be back at it. All right, so this hill is more important to her than behind the house. So we're gonna try to make this hill mowable. I'm probably gonna try to cut some of this out and transition it a little better and try to top dress it with that stuff. I don't know how it's gonna go. She said this is a lot of broken concrete and cinder blocks and stuff. You can kind of see it there. And there's some pieces there. She says they use a string trimmer for all this, so we're gonna do the best we can to make this as mowable as possible. There you have it. We are done. I had a quick conversation with her. I told her this is the material we're dealing with here. The concrete's just making more of a mess trying to grade it out. So she said just leave that area. She'll let the weeds or something grow up here, and then some sod down there. I said, hey, I'm just pushing it around. I'm making a mess pushing it around. She said, no big deal. I'm gonna hit it with the landscape rake and do final grade on everything. Yeah, there's just blocks everywhere. Concrete blocks everywhere. That's really wreaking havoc on trying to grade this out. But it turned out really nice. She came out here and she's like, I can for sure mow this. So, if the customer's happy, I'm happy. We just loaded the machine on the trailer. It's time to go check out another job. So this is a job that I was referred to by the driveway company. Same driveway company that did mine. Essentially, I just got to edge all this. So I just need to stop by to see what I need to bring with me. I think I'm going to rent a power rake for the mini skid steer and do this. Should work out pretty well. Yeah, I think it's going to work out really well. I'll rent the power rake and we'll be on our way. All right, so you guys wanted to see an update on some hydroseeding I did. I didn't actually record this job here. This is just something I went and did. And this was sprayed 12 days ago. I did from basically like, I don't know, this is tough to do on camera, like right here-ish, back towards the woods. And it's growing in pretty good. He's been watering it. It seems like he's been overwatering it, if I'm being completely honest. You could see like these wet spots here. But yeah, it's growing in really well. So 12 days with some watering. You can kind of see the line here. This probably gives you a good idea. So I did from here back. 12 days, and looks better than his normal grass, I guess. Yeah. So there's your update on hydroseeding. I know some of you were asking for it. There it is. All right, folks, we're back home, and we got to get this old girl unchained because I got that job in 2 days, the one we just looked at, and this track loosened right up. So we got to tighten that up, which isn't that bad. I got to loosen some of these bolts up, loosen some of those bolts up, and then you just crank on that. So we'll tighten that back up. Probably just stretch to where it needed to be after moving it. It did skip a couple times on that job. But for the most part, everything went well, and I was super happy with the way things turned out. So if the customer's happy, I'm happy. Until the next one, hope you guys have a great day. And don't forget to share this. Dude's bebopping all over the place. Yeah, don't forget to share this with somebody that might like it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And I think I already said have a great day, but if I didn't, have a great day.